This is a very important video or a very important topic we are going to. Conditional logic. Well, we have talked about booleans as a data type. Booleans are either true or false. Means if some condition is true or false. But here we have the condition. If condition is true, do something. Well, in Python we see this. If condition is true, just do something. Let's have an example how it looks. Specifically, we just say that when we say conditional logic, it means either it's true or false. But generally, we just check it is if the condition is true, if the condition or the condition is false, it will do something. For example, if someone is taking a license as licensed, the driver is licensed is true. It's just a simple thing. Now see that in program we just see is licensed, either it's true or not. Now we just say if licensed, you can drive. Well, let's print this. Yeah, you can drive. Why it is like this? Because the condition is true here. If licensed is true, the condition is met. Whatever we said, it meets that condition. So it will print this. So we have seen two things here, two new things like this colon and some indentation, like specified indentation. Well, this it is called indentation in Python. Well, it's very important. We will talk about this, and you will see many things here in Python when you code many lines of code or you have big projects. So you will face many times this thing. So you have to understand this indentation. Well, this indentation shows that this statement is the part of this if statement or this if condition. Well, if the condition is true, so print this thing. Well, for example, let's have something without condition or without this line. Check. Well, let's print this. Yeah, print it. Anyway, either it's true or not. Like, let's have this as false. See here, it has printed this last line. This last line doesn't care about this conditions. Either is true or not. The only thing the Python interpreter will print this line. It doesn't care about either this condition is true or not. So in Python, we have seen this if. There is one more thing that's called else. Else, for example, let's see. If the condition is not true, do this. Well, now let's see. You can't drive. But here it says that is licensed as false. I mean, the person who has the license or who has driven the car, so does he have a license? Well, it's false. He doesn't have. So it checks the condition either is licensed. Well, is it true? If it is true, it will print this line or it will execute this line. So the Python interpreter will see this line. If it is not true, else means doesn't care anything. So it will print this thing. So these two are very important. So this statement also has an indentation and else also has indentation. Well, it means that this line is part of this else and this line is part of this if condition. Well, if this condition is met, print this, else print this. Well, it is not the part of any of them or it doesn't care. Either it's true or not, it will print. So let's have something else like elif. We have elif. If you have background in, well, C or Java, you will understand that there it is called else if. But here we say that elif. So as old, let's check the age of that person. As old, true. For example, is also true. So we have here elif, this condition. Elif, the condition will be mentioned. You are old. Well, you are old enough. Now let's check this. What will be the output? You are old enough. Why it is like this? Now let's have this true. First of all, let's talk about this. Why it did like that? It was false. It will check. The Python interpreter will check. If this condition is true, do this. If this condition is true, run this line of code. If both of them are not true or both of them are false, then run this line of code. Well, it checked. The first line was false. Well, the second line was true. It just printed this. And we have many, for example, elif, many elif, like as good. We print this. So it will check all of them. It will have an indentation. Well, let's have this true. Will we see either this, well, this statement will be printed? Let's see. Yes, you can drive. Congratulations, you can drive now. You are a licensed driver. So in Python, it is very important. We know this indentation works a lot. Now, for example, we just want to have this both lines at once. Like, how we can say if licensed and as old. Just check if both of them are good. You can drive. You are, well, old. Both. The condition will be in the same line. Now, if I run this, well, both the conditions are true. It says that you can drive, you are old. Well, it's not true actually, but logically it's not true, but we just added here as a sentence. Well, we see there both of them are true. As old and as licensed, both of them true. That's why this condition is met. So if I make this false, the person is not licensed, well, you can't drive. This else statement is workable here. The Python interpreter just saw this line. It was not true, and it just printed this thing. Well, this AND keyword is a reserved keyword. AND keyword means something in Python. When we just add AND, it means just check both sides of them. This side and this side. If both of them are true, just execute this line. If both of them, even one of them was wrong, false or not correct, then ignore this line. So this AND keyword is very important. You have to understand this. It means both of them should be correct. So this is the, well, the if conditional or conditional logic in Python. Now let's see one other thing. In Python, we see that truthy and falsy. Well, both are important in conditional type. Well, let's see how it works. For example, let me comment out all of them and let's focus on this. Is old. Let's have hello. We do not have any true and false here. Is licensed, for example, 55. What do you think? What does it show? Like, I want to print is old. Well, it thrown some error. What does it say? Name error. Name as old is not defined. Did you mean, well, is not defined here. I just add it as not as D. Let's check now. Yes, hello. Well, it is nice and clean. But what if we have this as old and as licensed? And and just print. That's good. Well, if both of them are correct, that's good. Well, yeah, that's good. So we have seen this, we have found this, that both of them are correct. But what if we just print this, like, is old? Now, for example, we have the same thing. Well, I want to comment out this. It's a very important topic. We have to focus on this. As Boolean, well, hello, is licensed. Let's check the Boolean is 55. And I want to print both of them. Like, true and true. Why is like that? We have not written anything like true. We just saw the Boolean, or we have seen either is true or false. But here was some value like hello and some integer like, well, 55. Why it printed as true both of them? The Python will consider this as truthy values, not a falsy value. How? Let's see. If instead of 55 we have 0, for example, and the Python will just consider this as falsy. Python doesn't care. Python interpreter doesn't care. Either there is some value or something. If there is something specified, if there is something as value, it will consider this as truthy. If there is not value, that will be considered as falsy. So the Python interpreter just saw this 0, and it's seen that there is no value. So for example, if I want to delete this hello and just keep this as an empty string, now let's see, it's false. Both of them are falsy statements or falsy in Python. The Python interpreter will consider this as falsy. Now, for example, let's see the Boolean and, well, none keyword. For example, we had a keyword as none, or a data type we can just. So again, falsy. This keyword is reserved keyword. None means nothing or 0 or absence of values. So there is no value, nothing, 0. So that's why it calls it as falsy. So if next time you just consider about this falsy and truthy values, you just focus on these things, because Python interpreter will think about this and will focus on this and is very strict about this. So these are truthy and falsy in the conditions we have just talked about. Either that's if, else, elif, and every one of them.